Hey guys, we're back. Birdie's Not BS. Still in quarantine, but ready to talk some golf. So today we've got some fun topics about burnout, practice, junior golf, all kinds of things. So let's get it going. What week is this of quarantine?
Girl,
it's day like 52
it's like,
or
I think it's 51 or 52 because I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna need some G and some alcohol soon because this is foolish.
Yeah. I don't know what day it is.
I think it's like Thursday. I don't know. That's the problem. Monday, Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, they all feel the exact same day. And we all,
Yes.
I can't look at another IG account long enough. Like usually it's like swipe, 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 swipe. Now I'm like swipe, look, swipe, look.
Analyze.
I didn't know I had so many friends. I mean, how are you doing? Because you actually have seen the outside world. I haven't seen much of the outside world. I've seen the 2 floors of my crib. So please give me an update. What's it like?
Well, the weather in Phoenix is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful and perfect. I've been to the golf course quite a bit, and I'm so surprised with how many people are out playing golf. And
I thought we all were supposed to be social distancing and keeping ourselves away from the course.
No, there's a ton of people. I can't get a tee time. There's people all in the parking lot. I got to park way out at the end. But no, it's just interesting, being out and about. And, yes, we're in quarantine, but golf, again, is one of those essential businesses here in Phoenix that people are taking advantage of. And it is good people are being safe. But you know what? I thought this was going to be my time to have the course to myself. Right. And just kind of do my thing. But, it's otherwise.
When you say course to yourself, that's when you like to go out and drop balls and try to hit shots and multiple shots from the fairway.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite type of practice. Go like towards the end of the day, no one's out there. You can hit 5 balls on every hole, all kinds of shots, all kind of chips, putts, everything.
See, I'd love to do that. In the previous episode, that's why I called you bougie, because you can do that at country clubs. You can't do that at Quintero. You cannot do that.
I mean, True you North, can. They just might say something.
Somebody gonna say
to
something.
You.
That's for damn sure. You have Tyler Wright roll up on you, baby throwed out with a bad birdie shirt on. So shot.
What up?
We're in it. We're quarantined. You're still out. You're still practicing. You're still playing. How have you protected yourself? And what things have you been kind of like conscious about? Because even if I go to the grocery store, I look like I got a hazmat suit on.
I know. I mean, for me, I just take my little wet wipes everywhere. I wipe down the golf cart, wipe down. That's really it. I wipe down the golf cart and I take my hand sanitizer. So
those things are luxuries.
Yeah, they are. They really are. They're like gold right now, so I keep mine close to me. But anything I'm touching that other people are touching, I'm definitely just being conscious and wiping it down and just trying to stay clean. I'm, leaving the pin in. What's going to be weird, though, is when we come back and you can take the pin out. You're going to be
super used to having it in already.
I've been playing 2 months with the pin in, and just visually you get used to it. So I don't know. It'll be an adjustment.
I don't know. Still 2 feet, like... I'm imagining. I played golf? Yes, we played 3-4 weeks ago. God, that seems like forever ago.
Mm-hmm. Time is flying. Again, all the days are a blur. So the thing that now we're talking about, the adjustments from quarantine and Corona and how we play golf differently. Do you think, PGA Tour just announced their new schedule, their adjusted schedule, postponed, whatever's canceled, everything's pushed back a little bit. Do you think that the tour will also make these adjustments in terms of touching the pin and having,
that's a tough one there. No,
whatever in the cup to try to avoid everyone touching the same thing? I mean, there's 144, 150 players. You still are going to have to be careful.
Come on, Sha. First, to your point, let me say this. When's the last time you as a professional touch the flag stick, like in competition?
Caddies.
There we go. All right,
touching the pin.
So we not worried about the players as much as we worried about the loopers and the caddies. Shout out to Wayno Drano. But I think the caddies are going to be the ones that really bear the brunt of of sanity or not sanity. I meant like sanitizing.
Yeah. Maybe sanity too.
I don't know what word to use in this moment, but let's just stick there. I feel like guys that do loop are gonna have sanitizers in their bags. They're the ones that's gonna have another 30 pounds of protective equipment. There's gonna be PPE out in the golf course. This is what's gonna be in the golf bags for caddies and whatnot. And I honestly, it's gonna be an adjustment. The good news is, I've never said this before. The good news is there's not gonna be many spectators out there. But what people forget is the amount of volunteers it takes to run a freaking event. It's gonna feel like spectators out there. There's gonna be a lot of people.
I wonder if they'll have rope. They probably won't have ropes. There's nobody out there watching.
Shouldn't need ropes. Just people just out there chilling, walking around, kind of like back in the old days of like the shell golf challenges, where people just walked up on the green and watched. But it's not gonna be the same, and that's one thing I really believe about not even just golf, with everything. People keep talking about getting back to normal. I don't think there's a normal that we're gonna get. There's gonna be a new normal.
Right. A new normal, for sure.
I can't wait to see the first player cough or sneeze on the range and see what happens.
Everyone's going to give them the death stare. Yeah.
Really, dude? Like, you had the audacity to cough in front of me right now? I ain't got no mask. Will players wear masks, Shy? Well, I mean, I don't want to call out a lot of the international players, but, in some cultures, we do see a lot of masks being worn. Is that something you think might be adopted by players on the LPGA Tour?
You know what? I could see it happening, especially you don't know how long this corona is going to hang around, whether we are back to the new normal or not. We played a few events in India. I've played in India before on European Tour, and the pollution was so bad. I think in China as well. Pollution was so bad, players did play with face masks so they could protect their lungs and protect themselves.
Did you play with one?
No, I didn't. I just had the nasty air all in my
It's like smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. But so with a virus like this affecting our everyday life, I could totally see people taking it to the golf course as well, even in competition. And I think too, even when fans are brought back to the golf courses, I don't think you will see as many fan interactions. I don't think you'll see players maybe letting people touch them, shaking hands, photos, signing autographs.
Autographs are gonna be weird, right? If a player has their own Sharpie and they really don't have to touch or receive pins from the patrons and spectators, maybe that. Because I'm sure you've signed many autographs. Like sometimes it might get weird grabbing a pin from a player, or a patron.
Yeah, and you don't know where people have been. You see little kids or adults, and you want to shake their hand or high five. Right? People are dirty. I mean, and that sounds rude, but
no, it is rude.
But you genuinely want to be safe, and I do think that might be a new normal. Looking forward to the future of how any athlete is going to be interacting with fans.
Well, see, I think it's interesting you brought up the future, but I want to take a step back and talk about the past a little bit and kind of go back into the yesteryear of being, junior golfers and whatnot. Now, a lot of people out there don't know how you and I met. We met at the Bill Dickey Invitational. I was a volunteer. I had played already and was gone on, and I didn't have enough money to give back to the organization, so I volunteered. And that's how Cheyenne and I met. But I bring that up because I want to say how important it is that we do our part to make sure these junior golf organizations are sustained and the ones that are promoting golf at a high level. I'm not a big fan of organizations that are just bringing kids to golf just to learn the game and the values, because you get the values through golf any goddamn way, right? So I'm about those organizations that are pushing players and getting people to college and getting people to school to play at a high level. Now, again, we met at the Bill Dickey Scholarship. Well, back then it had this long-ass name. It was Bill Dickey National Minority Collegiate Golf Scholarship. So this shit was so long, and then it was BDI. But what do you remember about those days and remember about Bill?
One thing that was so special about the Bill Dickey Invitational was that it really was one of the only events that got all of us together to where we could compete, build relationships, network, and to this day still have relationships that are very, very important, especially in the golf industry. Yourself, all of the players on PGA, LPGA, minority players have gone through BDI, Bill Dickey. So just being able to build that network, I think, is important. And
you look at Harold Varner, Cameron Champ, Cheyenne Woods,
Joseph Bramlett,
yeah, Josh and Jeremiah Wooding, me, Willie Mack, Christian Evans. Wow, PGA professionals, Wyatt Worthington. You had Maggie Noel. You had Christine and Mary Jane Fernandez. You know, those girls were superstars.
Yeah, and I think it's
era.
important. It's important when you're playing a sport that is, you know, there's not a lot of black people in the sport, not a lot of minorities in the sport.
No.
It's so important to be able to have those platforms to bring everybody together, to have that common interest, to push each other, to continue the relationships moving forward, because you never know whether you're playing professional golf, you're working for PGA of America, you're teaching, you're still making an impact and can use those relationships. And no matter what you do.
Yeah, no, so you had a different relationship with Bill because Bill was here in Phoenix, right? You know, I imagine you played in all the East Wests and those types of things back in the day. But you know, do you think Bill knew what he was doing as it relates to the network that he was creating for black golf and black and brown golf? Because, you know, sometimes I think back and I love Bill Dickey. I always say I wanted to be Bill Dickey when I was a kid. But do you think he knew that this butterfly effect of a networking would be created and sustained through the years?
I honestly don't know. Like you said, I did meet Mr. Dickey when I was 6 years old, you know. I got started in his local minority program here in Phoenix, then moved on to the Bill Dickey tournament once I was in high school. But in knowing Mr. Dickey and what he did, it was just such a unique act that he was doing and such a unique impact that he was able to have on the game of golf. And it's been such a domino effect of, you know, he's passed maybe 10 years, more than 10 years. And so his impact is still there, you know, and, you know, he was a very special man, especially in minority golf and just having the impact, a very positive impact, whether it be at the junior level, the collegiate level, and then pushing out players into the professional ranks.
Yeah, but what pisses me off the most is you take a polarizing figure, an outspoken guy. Bill was not one to hold his tongue. He was very active in the boardrooms and different committees. He brought black golf, junior golf, minority golf. He brought it to the boardrooms. You had companies that invested in us to bring. I mean, that tournament, Shai, one of the most important parts of that tournament is it was free. You know, my first time flying on an airplane was to go play in the Bill Dickey in 1999. Yes, I'm old. I get it. But
99.
I know, right? I've been doing this a long time. But again,
wow.
The first year of the Bill Dickey was 1999. And that was the first time I played in it. But the point I want to make is back then I felt there were more companies and corporate involvement into growing the game of golf. Yes, it was 2 years after Tiger won the Masters in 97, but there was so much jubilation and joy, and people were galvanized to get minorities together. And I feel like that fervor has been lost. I feel like no one cares about, you know, the Dougs and the Cheyennes playing golf at a high level anymore.
Yeah, I know. I think even from a junior level, you don't see as many events like the Bill Dickey Invitational where, like you mentioned, your flight is taken care of, your hotel is taken care of. You get to play a championship-style golf course. No matter where you come from, what you look like, you get this opportunity to play at a high level against other junior golfers around the country. It's a huge opportunity for college coaches to come and see you. And then on the last night, you know, we don't only do the golf and compete and build relationships, but we got a day at Disney World. Like, it's every kid's dream,
yeah, absolutely.
You know? So just the combination of that, you really don't see any opportunities for juniors like that anymore. You know,
yeah,
there are many junior golf tours and programs that are very expensive to travel to play in. And I think that's really what limits golf from growing and juniors from getting that equal experience and equal opportunities.
Yeah, and I'm not, you know, I want to make sure people understand. I love the AJGA. Like, the AJGA was around even back in the 90s when I was playing junior golf. So, yes, it's been around for a while. It's changed a lot. The AJGA has changed quite a lot, and it's a little tougher now than I feel like it used to be. You have to earn stars, etc. But I do enjoy organizations like the AJGA. You know, they gave me a minority exemption into a few events when I was a junior to help me try to get some national notoriety. And I think it's a good time to say to those parents of kids, you have to have your child playing in national events if you do want them to create a resume that's viable for college coaches. It's hard to see a kid, and I'll use myself as an example, from Versailles, Kentucky, and Versailles got the population of 25,000, unless you're playing national events. Cheyenne, probably a bit different for you, I guess, going back through the recruiting process and being seen because you were in a major metropolitan area. But you have to play in those national events. I mean, that's where the coaches are looking.
Yeah, there's a lot of golfers in this country, a lot of junior golfers, and one way for you to stand out is to compete against the best of the best. Get your name on a leaderboard, get some eyeballs on you, play somewhere near a university where the coach might come out and watch you play. That is definitely very important, and again, not many opportunities for those who may not be able to afford it, which is very difficult. I did grow up here in Phoenix where, you know, I'm Arizona State, huge university. I saw the coach come out to many, even just local events. I'm able to drive to LA, drive to San Diego to play in events out there. But definitely as a junior golfer, it is so important to put yourself in those leaderboards, in those fields, so that you can get the eyeballs on you.
Yeah. Shai, do you remember if you had any, you know, type of exemptions or assistance into those events? Because for me, you know, it was so expensive for my family and just the time, you know, both my parents worked. But did you have any help or assistance or outside, you know, influences when you were growing up?
I would say no outside influence or help. I just had to play a very limited schedule, you know, where some kids are playing AJGA all summer. I would pick maybe one that I want to go to and play in that event. And, you know, I had the Junior Worlds out in San Diego every year. We drive there. Tiger Woods Foundation team helped provide, again, a spot, clothing, hotel for juniors on the team. Outside of that, there were other, like from Phoenix, qualifying for some team, and we hop on a plane and you travel together, and you kind of have to work it. You know, you got to find your opportunities and find your teams you can qualify for or scholarships you can qualify for, and find a way, because it is super, super expensive.
I feel like a lot of parents don't get the credit that they deserve sometimes when they have a junior golfer or a up and coming player that shows, you know, a lot of talent and ability, because they get crafty. You know, they get crafty. They get inventive with how they're going to support. And I think people need to understand that when you are trying to vie for one of these scholarships, it's okay for you to email the coach. Now, players emailing the coach, they may not be able to respond within a certain window of time, but a parent can get a response back from a coach. The coach's not going to say your kid's coming here, but they can say, hey, coach, we're going to be in this area. We'd love for you to stop by. Like, I feel like people forget that you can actually communicate with college coaches.
Right. And I think that's another very important point that you're making, is you need to, yes, reach out and communicate, but you also really need to be aware of NCAA rules, because you don't want to break them. You don't want to get yourself or your child in trouble. But definitely you can reach out. You can send swing videos. You can send updates. I always, whenever I was in a town, I would reach out and try to get a tour of campus, get a tour of the facility, show your face, make sure they have that name and face connection to where you can build a relationship and you're kind of on their radar.
That's a good one.
So definitely, wherever you're traveling, reach out to a local university, no matter if it's D1, D2, whatever, like show your face, you know, because it's just good to be on people's radar, and you never know what's going to happen in the future.
One thing I want to say that I wish I would have been more aware about, more astute about, is I didn't think of school first. You know, back during the recruiting process or when I was trying to find a school to go to, I didn't think about the actual university and what it offered first. So what I would definitely make sure that we advise, you know, up and coming players and parents is make sure you find the school that you like first, and hopefully they have golf. Because if I could do it all over again, I definitely would have found a school where I could have had some type of culinary background and still have been able to play golf, because I love to cook, and that was I wanted to, you know, be an executive chef back, you know, when I was younger. But I didn't know to look for a school that offered that. I just looked for where I could play golf. And then I
Right.
fell into like a major in a bucket. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm a political
Yeah.
science degree. Yay. How about that?
Right.
So how was like when you were being recruited? I mean, I know you ended up going to Wake. I mean, there had to be other schools that you could have played for. How was your recruiting process and making sure, like, I mean, everything was good? Like,
No, you're definitely right. And just pinpointing, what are you looking for in a school? You know, is golf the number one priority? Is academics? Do you want to be in a specific business school or a journalism school? Definitely important to be able to map that out. For me, I mean, golf was number one priority.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go to a school that I could play championship level golf and was going to prepare me for the next level. But on top of that, what also was important to me was somewhere that, you know, I could get a great degree from. Wake Forest had, you know, such a great academic background and, you know,
Wake Forest is hard.
Status. Or what? It's Wake. Yes,
shit,
Wake Forest is hard as hell.
That's a hard ass. That's a school
Man.
right there. You went to a school.
Yeah, school. And no, on top of that though, also I wanted the college experience. And although Wake is a very small school, they have a very competitive athletic program. I wanted to go to football games. I wanted to go to basketball games. I wanted to be around other athletes that are going to the next level. So that was something really important to me. And Wake just kind of encompassed it all. And it was a good fit for me, although it took an adjustment.
And as always, we get technical in our last part of our shows. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about burnout. Something that you got to look out for and got to avoid. So let's go.
Now, one thing that I know a lot of us have in common and maybe have experienced or have seen is burnout. I know growing up, I've seen junior golfers who excelled at a certain level and they just kind of disappeared. You wonder what happened to them. I've experienced burnout. It's something it's hard, and no matter what sport you're playing or even whatever passion you have, you kind of have to be careful with bordering that line of giving everything that you have and also burning out and falling out of love.
See, the thing about burnout for me is burnout's like it's like eating sweets every day, every meal, or eating McDonald's 3 times a day.
I don't see anything bad with sweets.
I'm saying, but if you ate sweets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, at some point you're gonna be like, F this candy bar, F these chocolates, right? Or eating McDonald's every day for 3 meals a day. No offense to McDonald's, not trying to call you out, but there was a show where a person did gain weight and had considerable health effects, right? So I feel like golf or anything that you do consistently or anything you want to be good at, you have to do it in moderation to some degree. Meaning, you can't just hit balls for 12 hours a day. Like, you can, but if you know, I always told myself, if I can't focus on my shot at hand fully, then I should just leave the golf course.
Yeah.
In my opinion, every shot needs a certain level of attention, a certain level of like love and care. Like I don't know how you visualize your pre-shot, but the way I do it is exhausting. You know, I find that my start line, I find my down line, I find, you know, what cloud in the sky I want to hit it over or under. That's like really what I think about before I hit a shot. So 8 hours of that in a day, I'm done. I can't do that shit for 8 hours a day. Like, you know, so knowing like where to stop, I feel like when you're practicing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how do you even, I mean.
No, but I know exactly what you mean. And from my experience, I would say there's a fine line between pushing through a tough practice and maybe you don't want to be there, but that's a mental grind of you just kind of working hard. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to come back from that and truly enjoy the process of the progress and truly enjoy you getting better. If you come back from practice or you're at the golf course and you don't want to be there, you don't want to get better, you're not enjoying the process. And so I think that's kind of where you burn out, because you're not having fun in the bigger picture of things, of accomplishing your goals.
See, I never liked that notion of grinding. And I think even Rotella speaks about it in one of his books. Whenever I felt like I got to a point in my practice where I had to grind, that's when I knew I had to kind of be aware of what I was doing, because I could actually be getting worse at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it shouldn't feel like a grind. You
Right.
should be in the flow. You should be enjoying it. You should just be kind of
Yeah, I like
in
that.
the process.
Flow.
Of
I like how
everything.
you like have a flow.
Yeah.
Like that's perfect. If it does feel like
Flow
a grind.
versus grind.
Yeah. See, that's patented here on Birdie's Not BS. That is all Birdies. I love that.
Because you're right. I mean, a grind feels like you're fighting something.
And you're working and you're lifting. You're
You're working against yourself almost. You're
Exactly.
grinding. Whereas when you flow, which is exactly how you want to feel on the golf course, where everything is a flow. You don't want to be fighting any internal things or external things. You want to be in the flow of loving where you are, what you're doing, working at it, and being in the moment and just, getting it done.
You know, it's funny. I asked a couple years ago, I was playing down in the Jamaican Open. I was paired with Taylor Funk, which is Fred Funk's son. Fred Funk was caddying. And I asked Fred, I said, Fred, you know, give me some advice on like how to practice like a tour player. Like, give me some just advice. I want to get better. I want to play blah, blah. Fred said something very interesting. He said, the law of diminishing returns. And again, it took me a while to stop and think about it. I was like, yeah, law of diminishing returns. All right, Fred, that's cool. What the hell's that? You know, but the point is, at some point, you can only put your full effort in for so long before there's the backside of the bell curve, right? To where you're actually getting worse, doing the same thing that you've been doing to get better. So I think that was really, really interesting to me. Was like, he's like, know that, you know, when you're on a range, that at some point you got to leave the range because you're going to start getting worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be mentally tired, physically tired, to where bad habits start to creep in, and you have to be aware of that. So that's why it's so important to have different types of practice. Hit, 5 wedge shots, then go hit 5 7-irons and mix it up. Keep it interesting. Go chip and putt. I don't know.
Do something.
I'm just talking.
That's fine.
Do something to where you're mixing it up and you're not just beating balls with no purpose.
Vary your practice. Hey, Cheyenne, as always, it's so fun just getting to talk to you. I know we've been doing most of these conversations via Zoom or Skype or Squadcast, whatever the hell this thing's called. But as always, I enjoy our time together. Guys, Birdie's Not BS. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know how to get to us, and Shy will tell you the URL.
birdiesnotbs.com, and we're always reading your questions, so send them in, and we'll see you. You won't see us, but you'll hear us.
You finally
next
nailed
week.
it. And don't forget to leave those reviews. Those reviews are critical to us. We need 5 of them stars if you be so kind. And we'll talk to y'all next week.